Welcome back, twins. As you can tell, or maybe not, new computer, new setup. Very blessed to be here with you all today. I just want to take one single moment to thank all of you for the outpour of comments, love, care. Thank you for caring about what I'm making and viewing and hopefully sharing with your friends. Blessings, much love. That brings me a lot of joy. I've been trying to respond to every comment and hearing your struggles and your stories make me happy. So thank you. Today, we are going to talk about the fear of being weird. What the fear of being weird is, how this affects our life, why we encounter this, and how it's limiting us from creating beautiful art, beautiful music, a successful business, making money, whatever more so the things you're trying to achieve, and why it is stopping you, and how being weird can get you everything that you want in life. I want to open with this, another quote from Rick Rubin, the book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. I've spoken and read this quote before, but I want to reiterate that this is what this channel, these video essays are all about. Nothing in this book is known to be true. It's a reflection on what I've noticed, not facts so much as thoughts. Some ideas may resonate, others may not. A few may awaken an inner knowing you forgot you had. Use what's helpful, let go of the rest. Each of these moments is an invitation to further inquiry, looking deeper, zooming out or in, opening possibilities for a new way of being. These videos and the things that I talk about, the conversations that we have, are to make you inquire, to make you think deeper, to question things. Not because I believe I know, because I know I do not know. And I know that the world is a lot more interesting and a lot more fantastical. And cosmic than we believe it to be. So through these videos, please, I hope that they find you, and I hope that the ideas gifted to me can help you in your journey. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is section 1, why we think weird is bad. I don't have a ton of videos today, just going to be a lot of speaking. I have one video, but this topic is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately and kind of milling over, and I didn't feel like I could find any content that supported my thoughts and that supported kind of the ideas that I think about. But I've written a lot about this, and so I just want to kind of speak to y'all and express some of my ideas. It'll be a lot of talking and a little bit more writing, not as many videos. Sorry for the people who yearn for the dopamine hit. You will not be getting that today. The dopamine of a good hype video. I know it's tragic, but why we think weird is bad. This is a lot like, I believe, the fear of being seen video that I did. The reason why we think that weird is bad is because we have been told our whole lives that our quirks, our interesting parts, the things that make us us are not superpowers, that they are problems, that they are things we need to work on, in that they are bad. I'll give you an example in my own life. I have some learning disabilities, you could say. I don't know if disabilities is the right word, but dyslexia, dyscalculia, and very much trouble sitting still and paying attention to things that I'm not interested in. And these things in a traditional school setting would be deemed as problems, issues, not strengths. And you can look at them as bad things. And yes, there are things that I need to work on. I can always get better at. I can strive and not be a victim to the things that I struggle with. But in a traditional sense, these would be all bad traits that you don't want to have in your life. And I could have lived a life where I thought that the weird parts about me, or what I'm classifying as weird, could be bad. And I don't look at it that way. I look at the weird parts of me in a positive way, and I look at them as my superpowers and my preferences that make me different than other people. And I think that's a huge positive that you can draw from your weirdness. And I don't know if weirdness is the correct term, because I wouldn't say that, my dyscalculia is weird. But I think that through having that, it has made me develop weird quirks. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. But the weird things that I do and my preferences in the way that I do things make me have a different perspective and a different way of doing things, which then is my edge and is my superpower, I believe. So why we think weird is bad. It goes against the norm. Being weird or, different than other people, you're a lot of times against the norm. You're against school. I would say I was, not to get into like social standings and, school, but I would say I was like a normal kid, and I didn't have a hard time in social situations. But I would say the way I did things and my ability to learn, comprehend, do school was very different, and that was not normal. And so that, in a sense, made me weird. And I could have made that a bad thing, or I could have made it my superpower. The world basically, I believe, and the world is a very, very broad term, but maybe the institutions, school, other people, are very quick to judge, and they're very quick to say that the interesting ways that you do things are not a positive because they don't fit in line with the way you're taught to be, the way that others work. But therein lies the superpower. And I'll kind of get into how the weirdness that you have, and I'll split up weird into a couple different categories and why you can use that to your advantage. But the world as a whole wants us to operate in a certain way. Schools, taught us to think a certain way, to work a certain way, especially. That is a huge thing. Weird is bad because it goes against how we are taught to work. Naval Ravikant talks about this. There's been, people who have talked about this topic, but we are taught in this world, we're taught to work a certain way. We have to have a schedule. we have to be organized. There's all of these things that we have been taught and almost programmed to do and to be a certain way. And I don't believe anything of these to be true. Obviously, that's why I'm making this video. And so when you do things differently, it's weird because it goes against how we're taught to work and how we're taught to be. It can go against social norms. So a lot of times when other people are weird, they have particular ways of doing things. They have strong opinions. And that's where this will tie in later to the other section. Maybe we can just get into that section. Let's get into that section too. Okay. Let's say preferences are your superpowers. So the things that make you different, the things that make you weird, my dyslexia, dyscalculia, trouble paying attention, trouble sitting still. It's specifically activated when I do not care or am not interested in the thing that I'm doing, when I have no passion. But in the things that I love, in the things that I'm very interested in, I could sit for hours and hours and hours and hours and focus all night and throw myself into the things that I'm working on and doing. And in a traditional setting, that is super unproductive for, a job or a specific way of doing something. But in the game of success, in creation, those can be my superpowers. Those can be the things that I lean into and give me my edge over everyone else, trying to be the best artist, trying to be the best musician, trying to be the best actor, trying to be the best business person. All of the things that will, hinder me in the normal world are superpowers in the real world. School is not the normal world. The corporate environment is not the normal world. We don't play those games. We don't play with those rules. So I could focus for hours and hours and hours and hours and get tons of things done. But I also am super unorganized. I'm super, super messy. I have a hard time motivating myself to do things. I procrastinate very heavily when I don't want to do a certain thing. And like I said, all of those things are meant to be bad. You're meant to be told that those are horrible things. You need to get better at them. You need to work on them. But what if those things are what make me special and what make me good at one specific thing that I'm passionate about, that I love? The way you choose to do things can make you the best. I want to use this example because I've been thinking about this a lot, but preferences in the way that you want things to be done, or that you do things, or that you want others to view your art or your creation of any way, your business, your movie, your music, anything, your preferences are the secret sauce. Your weirdness, your quirks are the things that make people interested in what you make. Perfect example, Mark Rothko is a very famous abstract expressionist artist, one of the most famous artists of all time. And he did gigantic block color art pieces. They were, huge, 15 by 15 canvases, 6 by 8, just massive canvases. And he had a specific way that he wanted you to view the art. He had a distance away from the canvas that he wanted you to stand. He wouldn't let any of his art pieces be in the room with any other art pieces. He wanted the wall behind his art pieces to be a specific color. I believe it's eggshell, not like blank white. All of these things are considered very weird and are weird. He didn't let people inside of his studio, even his assistants. They didn't know what was happening. They didn't even know what he was working on. He was in his studio, and to anyone else or to critics or other people who are not bought into his art and being the best artist and making the best art, that could be considered rude. That could be considered very particular. That could be considered self-centered. And yes, there is a very murky gray area between, being an asshole and, having preferences and creating things. And so you obviously should always treat people with respect and be kind and be loving. And I think there's a classy way that you can go about it. But you also should never compromise your preferences, because his preferences, the way he viewed, the way he wanted the viewer to view his art, the way he displayed his art, made him the way that he is and made his art great, I believe. And so your preferences make you great, and your preferences make you different. Your preferences and you being different is authentic. And I think let's get into section 3, because this will perfectly, move into section 3. But your difference in life makes you special and is what's authentic about you. And your authenticity is interesting to people and therefore builds affinity and love and passion for the thing that you're creating. And that I want to get into vision takes action. And this is a little bit of an adjacent concept that I've been thinking deeply about, but I think that it fits perfectly in this being weird and preferences and all of this stuff. So I've been thinking about this concept for a while. I want to read a passage and from the Creative Act. And a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, whether you're a business person or you are an artist. I have many business friends, many artist friends, and many friends who are aspiring to do great things. And a common thing that I talk to them about is they don't know how to bring their vision to life. And the simple thing that I want to say is, to bring your vision to life, you need to take action. People who build things and who bring their vision to life did not sit down and plan out exactly how their thing was going to be created. They simply acted out their preferences, and that created their vision. I hope that that resonates as much as it does with me, but they lived out their preferences. Example, you're at a photo shoot for your brand. You want the models to stand a certain way. You pick a specific color palette for the backdrop. You pick specific clothing for the models. You pick the models specifically. You all of these things are your preferences and is then your vision and is what people fall in love with and are attracted to. And that is authenticity. So through you being weird, having quirks, being opinionated, having preferences, you are then creating your vision, and that's authenticity. That is like so huge. You do not create your vision through thinking about it. You create your vision through your acting out of preferences. Your preferences are so important. The way that you do things is so important. We have been taught our whole lives to do things one way, fall into the puzzle piece that everybody wants us to. But that is not how the world works. You get to pick the way you work. You get to pick the things that you like and the things that you do. So I want to read another quote, and it's along the lines of these preferences. There's a time for certain ideas to arrive, and they find a way to express themselves through us. Ideas express themselves through us, and the way that they express through us is through preferences in the way that we have received the ideas and the way that we believe the ideas should be portrayed. Our filter of ideas, I'm trying to bookmark this. Our filter and our way of presenting ideas is authenticity. Our way of expressing ideas that were gifted to us is authentic creation. And that can be weird. It can be a way of painting. It can be a way of making art. It can be a way that you write songs. It can be a way that you want the songs to be delivered, to be listened to, your art to be viewed. All of these preferences, the way that you work, whether you want to keep a schedule, whether you want to have a really jam-packed calendar, where you want to work, what you want to do. It's all your preferences. And the way that you act those preferences out makes special art. Okay, here's the last quote, and then we'll watch the video and we'll break it down. Turning something from an idea into a reality can make it seem smaller. It changes from unearthly to earthly. The imagination has no limits. The physical world does. The work exists in both. Your work and your vision should not follow the rules and the physical laws of the universe, because the universe does not follow those laws. So through your creation, through your preferences, when you are doing things, your art and what makes your art yours is your preferences and your opinions and your actions that you take. First, you need to take action. Let's go to this is section 4. I just remembered I wanted to talk about this. There is no blueprint. We're hitting a stride right now. We're in a flow state. One of the core theses of this Being Weird video essay is that there is no blueprint. Just like I said in the beginning of the essay, the beginning of this book, and what these videos are supposed to be is nothing in this video is known to be true. These are simply musings of my ideas and the things that I've noticed in my life. It is me acting out my weird parts and my interesting parts, or what I believe is on my heart. And one of the biggest things is that there is no blueprint in life. If anybody in your life tells you that there's a certain way that you need to do something, or that you need to live your life, or that do this 10-step thing, or if you do this, you're going to be rich, or if you do this, is all bullshit. There's no blueprint to life. There's no blueprint to being an artist. There's no blueprint to being a painter. There's no blueprint to being a business person. There's no blueprint to success. The closest thing that you can do is whatever is on your heart, and whatever your weird preferences are is the way that you will find success in whatever you do. As long as you live out your authentic inner voice of the things that you believe and that you do, that is how you'll get the best outcome. And that may be no success. That may be hatred. It could be all of these things. I'm not saying that you do this and you win and you make a bunch of money, but there's no blueprint to life. You just have to go out You have to make your own blueprint for you. The way that you work, the way that you think, the way that you create. Everybody's different. We all have different strengths. Some people are really good at math. Some people are really good at art. Some people are really good at visionary thinking. Some people are really good at leading other people. These things have been overlooked by the world, and we think that everybody is this monolithic thing, and that these traits and qualities that we have are not important. They're super important. Some people are not good leaders and they should not lead other people. But that doesn't mean that they're bad at math, or that doesn't mean that they're a savant in a different setting. But we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. And the faster that we get into our weird strengths and weaknesses, and we celebrate the weird things about everybody, and we celebrate the quirks and the specialty that everybody has, the more cohesion you will have, and the more equilibrium you will achieve, and the clearer thought you will have, and the better X you will make. Art, music, business, whatever it is. There's no blueprint. I'm just going to stop right there. I just blacked out. Let's watch the video, and then we'll end, and I'll say a few words in reaction. Here's a video of Ethan Hawke talking about creativity and specifically preferences.
So if you want to help your community, if you want to help your family, if you want to help your friends, you have to express yourself. And to express yourself, you have to know yourself. It's actually super easy. You just have to follow your love, right? There is no path. There's no path till you walk it. And you have to be willing to play the fool. So don't, read the book that you should read. Read the book you want to read, right? Don't listen to the music that you used to like. Take some time to listen to some new music. Take some time to talk to somebody that you don't normally talk to. I guarantee if you do that, you will feel foolish. That's the point. Play the fool.
Okay. Gosh, isn't that so beautiful how I picked out that video because it was slightly similar to what I'm talking about. And then the last section that came to me that I totally forgot about this whole video was that there's no blueprint and there's no path to art, creativity, success. And then that video I forgot was about that there's no path and that you should read the books you want to read and listen to the music that you want to read or listen to. God, that gives me goosebumps, because you take action, you live out your vision and your preferences. This format, this notes, those videos that I pick for you guys is me living out my authentic, weird, like, what even is this thing? And through that, we get beautiful, magical, serendipitous moments like that, where you get complete synergy. And this is what the whole thing is about. And if I never took the action to sit down and record this video and make this happen, I wouldn't have just got that, and you wouldn't have just seen that. So I just want to end on that. I had an idea today too of it'd be cool to maybe do like a Q&A, like webinar or like a live stream. I kind of just want to like interact with you guys. Not in real life, but like just on a live level maybe to some degree. So if you guys are interested in that, I'm going to drop like some type of link or I don't know, survey. You can fill it out and like sign up for the link. Maybe I'll put a poll. I don't really know. So I can interact with you all either one day in the coming weeks or in a live stream type deal and just talk and do a Q&A, have question and answer. So many people comment amazing questions and talk about different things, and I kind of just want to discuss them. So thank you so much. This video is probably my favorite so far. Love you all. Go out there, create beautiful things, be weird, and question everything.